Good morning, people of Earth. Welcome to the fucking news with me, Deke Jackson, on the 4th of November, 2020. Wasn't it great? Did you tune in? Did you watch? Oh, I watched for, 3 minutes. I watched some guy touching a big television screen and saying, this county is really a bellwether county. If this county goes Trump, then I think we can expect the state to go Trump. I watched graphics slide, twist, twirl, burn. Fuck it, I've got better things to do with my life, and I went away to take drugs and listen to music. So when I woke up this morning, I was absolutely shocked to discover that everything I thought about the election was true. Lawyers will be getting their Christmas present, three stig. Lawyers will be getting their Christmas early, as fact checks will be written by Democrats and Republicans to litigate and sort out this mischela, as they say in Italian. And I would like to say on record now that I think that perhaps if I had some money, I would put it on the Supreme Court stopping the votes, declaring Trump president, and America having a civil war with looting, burning, rioting, death on the streets, fire in the skies. Arnold Lane, good morning, mate. Thank you for the donuts. It has been a while. I should like to predict broken glass, rubble-strewn streets, Darth Vader-style lines of police, SWAT teams manning the barricades, as the disenchanted from anywhere and about everything hit the streets to partake in the democratic process of not being happy about the democratic process. Yes, smoke in the water, fire in the sky. I think that's the quote I was looking for. And so, it's a draw, isn't it? Both Republicans and Democrats are both total fucking twats. If you've been sitting still in America for the last few decades, accepting this political process where some rich fuckers sit in the anteroom of some Washington office saying, well, who do we want to possibly the American people to be president? Civil war on toast, yes, please. I'll have civil war, beans. It's like that buffet breakfast. Yes, I'll have some civil war, some social unrest, some constitutional crisis, and a potato scone and some fried mushrooms. Yes, it's a breakfast. It's a dog's breakfast. I don't know if Americans use that phrase. It certainly is a dog's breakfast. But as I was saying, if you've been accepting this as your political process for the last few decades, what the fuck did you expect? What did you expect to happen? This is not really democracy, is it? Where the 360 million people have two people put in front of them to choose from at an election. Here's your choices. Wait a minute, there's 360 million people in this country. Yeah, but we decided just to narrow it down to these two. But they're both fat, rich old white men who are going to die soon. Yeah, but that's choice. That's real choice. Choice. Consumerism. Isn't that an American thing? Choice and consumerism? When you go to Subway, have they got two fucking sandwiches for you? No. They have more than two sandwiches for you in Subway. When you have breakfast at McDonald's, is there just two items on the menu? No. There's loads of things. You can have all sorts of things. Rich, hello there. There's plenty of choice in America. Hey, would you like to buy a car? Man, we've got cars from here to fucking LA for you to choose from. It's a purple haze. Richard, good morning. There's plenty of choice in America, except when it comes to choosing a president. Then, a load of people in Washington sit down and pick two people who they want you to pick one of. That's a little exclusive, isn't it? And so anybody complaining, good morning, change, orange Julius, isn't that's a special drink in America, I believe. Some kind of, it's a sort of mall franchise thing, the Orange Julius. I've always wanted to taste one. Anyway, I'll bet you there's a lot of choice of Orange Julius. I bet you there is. I bet you can have it with ice, without ice, with a dash of caramel. it comes to picking your president, the American people have decided to settle for and accept two fuckers being served up on their plate. Here we have, on the left, you have some rich old white guy, and on the right, you have some rich old white guy. What kind of president would you like? Would you like rich old white guy or rich old white guy? Because those are your choices, okay? So if you're feeling dissatisfied with the result, where have you been for the last 40 fucking years, 50 years, 60 years, eh? What did you think was happening in your fucking election? This isn't a democratic process. This is a fucking farce. And I don't know if you can read that, but I vomited. Thank you, Arnold. More donuts. If you were here, I'd buy you a coffee to dunk them in. I vomited, not just at the process, but at the expectation. The expectation, the slavering journalists, these TV pundits, the slavering, slavering, havering pish they come out with. Well, a democracy has to be seen. This is not democracy. This is not democracy. A democracy would be choice, you choosing who you wanted to represent you. This is not democracy. And so I look forward to seeing which of the rich old white men, the rich old white lawyers choose to represent the rich old white people who fund both of your parties. And let that be an end to it, because there's other stuff going on in the world. I know, America. You think it's all happening down there in your belly button. Oh my God, I've got Donald Trump for president in my belly button, and Joe Biden is trying to take over. Oh my God, right there in your belly button. But Lul Factory, comedy won. Comedy for the win. Comedy for the win, all the way. Yeah, man, Arnold Lane, I'm coming to the troops on streets, man. That's fucking, like I was saying, there's other stuff happening in the world. Now, the front page of my newspaper says, GPs told to prepare for COVID vaccine. But, I mean, that's barely fucking news. If you read the story, it's not even news. It's like a maybe, possibly, we might have something that's not really effective, we don't really know yet. What kind of journalist wants that on their front page when the army is invading Liverpool? That's right, folks. The fucking army on the streets. Now, let me just picture the scene. It's a large city, millions of people, and it's easy to seal off. It's geographically isolated on a coastal area of Britain, so that, you know, you can just throw up a barricade, you know, somewhere between the, the M40 and the M6, and with a couple of junctions, you can just seal off Liverpool. And so the army have gone into Liverpool, and the story goes, this is the story, the government is planning an experiment with mass testing. Okay, so far so good. What's the army for? Because I thought we gave billions and billions of pounds to Serco and G4S, and magically waved a wand to make them nurses. So we don't really need the army to stick a fucking a cotton bud up your nose and do the test. No, shh, don't tell anyone. Well, do. But the reason the army is there is because after you've had the test and tested positive, you will be quarantined. How many people do you think this test will correctly identify or falsely identify as being positive? Because the science on the PCR test is pretty bad. It's a rubbish test. You could have had the cold 6 months ago and test positive for this. No, what's happening in Liverpool is a test of quarantine. A man in Britain, I may have said this before, but it bears repeating. A man in Britain told the NHS he had symptoms, and he ordered 3 tests for him and his family. He tested his doormat, his dog, and his computer keyboard with the official NHS test. Turns out his doormat and his dog had to go into self-isolation, but his computer keyboard was fine. That's the kind of level of accuracy this test has. And they're about to subject the people of Liverpool en masse to this testing regime. And when large percentages of them, there's no punchline. I'm disappointed if you thought this was comedy. I've got pictures of dead children coming. I mean every fucking word. When you test positive, the next thing that happens, in order of importance for you, first, you're told to quarantine for 14 days. and the army makes sure you do. Second, when a vaccine becomes available, they come round and say, well, you know, you tested positive, and for public health reasons, Public Health Act 2020, we're now compelling you to have this medical intervention against your will. And there's the army behind the G4S security guy who yesterday was serving up fries at McDonald's, but now he's got a uniform on and a lanyard that says he's a medical fucking professional from the government, and he wants to inject you with goo that this paper here says, all right? Right on the front page, GPs told to prepare for COVID vaccine. Then in a subtitle it says, there is no news as to whether the vaccine will be effective or who might benefit. What? Why fucking inject people with it then? There is no news on whether the vaccine will be effective. So why would I have it? Why would you have it? You'd have it because they'll make you have it. Okay, moving on, because there are other things happening in Britain. Just for shits and giggles, a woman took her own life after she was unable to attend her grandmother's funeral. Seems a bit, over the top, but, let's go on with it. And then the journalist says, Abigail died after falling from a bridge over the M4. Wait a minute. That's not suicide if you fell. She has to jump for it to be suicide. I feel I'm involved in some sort of, journalistic standard assessment, and this is shitty journalism. She has to jump for it to be suicide. If she falls, it's just a fucking Okay, I lost my signal there. I think I know what it is. Sunlight coming in the window heats the phone up and its chips go crazy and it can't connect anymore. Are we live now? Anybody hit me up with a comment just so I know I'm not talking to the seagulls. Yes, okay, all right, we're back. So to continue then, in other news, in the United States, a man has been jailed for burning down 3 churches in Louisiana. Heavy metal musician Holden Matthews was ordered to pay $2.7 million in restitution. He said he burned the churches down to boost his reputation within the music business. How does that work? Is that how it works? Is that going to impress the record company? Hey dude, love the guitar solo. Have you burned down any churches though? I mean, what kind of music industry have you got there in America? Or, hey dude, I love the drum solo. Do you know what would really make the drum solo go down? Just at the end, right at the end, you grab some Molotovs and totally torch the fucking church behind you, man. That would be awesome. And my gigs have never been so fiery. Here's a headline. In Britain, because of the Islamist crazy people, you Muslim nutters out there in Europe, killing people, chopping their heads off, shooting them and stuff like that, Britain has decided its terror threat must be raised to severe, which I think should be a permanent state of affairs, because Britain as a nation is a terrorist. We're terrorizing people all over the place right now. So if you're out there in Yemen and our bombs are falling on your head, if you're in Egypt, where we sell the police stun guns and sniper rifles and cattle prods, and Bahrain, if you're in, where was it? Niger, where the army, a corrupt police unit were shooting people dead on the street. We trained them. Those people were trained in Britain. The people in Niger who were killing protesters, trained by Britain. The UK terror threat should remain at severe forever, because we are total fucking scary terrorists, and you should be afraid. Now I'm going to show you a picture here, and I want you to understand that it's not about fat shaming. Oh man, the sunlight's so bad. Okay. All right. She's a bit... Okay, another interruption there. No clear winner yet for America. She may be big, she may be beautiful, but her excess calorific intake is ugly. She is what we are. We are gross consumers. Gross consumers. We are having it all while the rest of the world goes hungry. But we like it like that, and you know, I don't see any change on the horizon. Warner Brothers face call to sack Johnny Depp. Warner Brothers is facing pressure to remove Johnny Depp from the latest film because turns out he's a wife beater. Well, what about, I don't know, I'm not saying the people involved are wife beaters, but isn't there a bit of Hollywood hypocrisy here? Hasn't Hollywood shown violent men beating up and raping women for that to act out? Wouldn't it be better if they say, oh, we need a guy, so we've got this film, this is a guy, he's a serial killer, or he's a wife beater, he's a rapist, he's a violent misogynist. Can we get somebody out of jail who is one of those things? We're making a serial killer movie. Who better to play it than a serial killer? Honestly, the realism. Think of the realism. I'm tired of this hypocrisy from Hollywood, pumping out gun-toting, macho fucking misogyny, violence, rape, and torture and serial killer horror, as if they've got nothing to do with that being in the real world. The COVID vaccine.